Hey everyone, Sir Jellybean here, and we're back with another CallToArms GatesOfHell tutorial, and this time we're talking Russian armoured cars and light tracked vehicles, because they don't really have half tracks, but they do get these universal carriers. So it'll be similar to the German episode. We'll go through the vehicles, their inventories, how effective they are, basically what they're armed with, and just kind of give you some tactics. So just like the German video, I'll go over what they are. Armoured cars were more domestic use vehicles, used for scouting and kind of rearguard duties. You're not going to be taking on target tanks with these things, but they are quite effective, especially early war. And obviously things like your scout car is basically a bit of a, you can carry infantry in it. Just is a good infantry support thing. And the universal carriers are kind of light support vehicles, and they can carry a few infantry as well. So good for kind of rapid response, elite infantry, if you need them on defence as well to back you up. So we'll start down here at the bottom. We've got the BA-64B. So it's between 6 and 15 armour, it's very light. It's not bad, it's pretty good speed, it's 80 speed, so it's very, very nippy. Now, it is open top, but turret is quite effective. It's got a basic DT machine gun, quite a bit of ammo. Obviously, it's only there for taking on light infantry, but it's very mobile, great little scout car in early war, great for kind of supporting your infantry, and it'll hold its own against most things, but obviously vulnerable to anything like AT rifles, anti-tank weapons will tear it to pieces. But a nice little support vehicle, but I wouldn't invest heavily in them, only the very first missions of Conquest. We've got the BA-20, it's similar but less armour, but more speed, 90 speed, so it's very nippy. The armour is only 3 to 6, which means small arms can get through it. I've penetrated one with the weapons on a Panzer 1, which are the MG34s. So I would actually avoid these, because the fact that the armour is so low, even rifles can penetrate them. So it's obviously, it's only armed with the basic turret machine gun, which is a DT. It does have some grenades though, which I've always found interesting. So you can, he's got grenades in it. I'm guessing that was for the troops to chuck out. But I would not invest in the BA-20. I think it's pretty useless. Then you got the FIA-M, which is very similar to BA-20, but it's slightly slower. Has the same armour, basically the same weaponry, but slightly less grenades. Also wouldn't use it, and I believe the Finns get access to this. It's pretty useless, and the design is not bad. The only good thing about them is the turret is quite high up, so you can park it kind of over cover. Kind of use it as a bit of a pillbox, but like I said, the armour is too light for it to be effective, really. Then we've got the BA-20 Command, which is basically just the same as the BA-20, but with the Commander's hatch, for the officer to pop out. Don't use it. It's fast, but just bring your officer is not safe in it. He will die, so definitely avoid that. All three of them, in my opinion, or say 4, not particularly good. Then we get onto the BA-10. Now this thing changes quite a bit. It's got 6 in 10 armour, so it is light. The main thing, it's got multiple weapons. It's got DT machine gun turret and the cannon, and it's got that hull mounted DT machine gun. So it's got a lot of firepower. I think that's a 45mm gun. As you can see, it's got decent reload speed, but this thing can take on light tanks, and it's even damaged like medium tanks from the side. It's basically got a better gun than most light German vehicles, and it's very effective. And because of how it's kind of designed with the turret, if you park that behind cover, you can just have the turret poking up behind some fence or a pile of logs or something, so they can be quite nasty. And they're quite nippy at 53 speed. The armour is a bit of a letdown, but I've lost quite a few people to these, especially early war. They're great for taking on the Germans' light vehicles and sniping anti-tank guns, like if you can get this around the side. So yeah, the BA-10 is quite a good little vehicle. I do like it. BA-6, now this is basically the upgrade from the BA-10, in my opinion. His armour is 3 to 15. It obviously carries the same weapon, the 45mm gun. It's the exact same length. It's got 2 DT machine guns. I've had a lot of trouble fighting these early war with the Germans. As you can see with the design, basically similar to that. Now that is the more modern variant, I believe, but I think these are a lot better, and I've lost so many infantry and light armoured vehicles to these. Now it is a bit slower at 43, but a couple of these attacking you, they're very, very accurate with those 45mm. I found them to be ridiculously accurate when the AI uses them, so do watch out for them, because they are tough little vehicles. Now not too hard to kill, but it's the gun, and especially like, for instance, let me just demonstrate here. If you move that up here, imagine you've got that placed like in a position behind that wood there. As you can see, because of how the turret is, you can place it behind, if you had some cover a bit higher, you can quite easily cover the weak hull, and it makes it basically a nasty little pillbox. So they are very effective at that, and they're pretty mobile, so they can be quite useful. So I do like the BA-6. Next we've got the M3A1E1 scout car, which is the American scout car, which was Lend-Lease to the Russians. This thing's actually pretty good. Now the armour is 6.35, it's light, but even lighter than half track, and it's 80 speed, and it can carry up to 5 more additional men. So it's good for like an elite infantry squad response unit. But the standout thing is the 50 caliber. 50 caliber's got pretty good penetration. quite a lot of ammo. It'll tear through infantry, and it'll tear through like half tracks, very light armored vehicles, and I've even seen it take on light tanks from the side and rear. So that 50 cal can also take aircraft as well. It's got a rear guard 30 cal. These things with infantry can be the bane of enemy infantry and the kind of flanking support weapons. So yeah, I do like the scout car. And it's very mobile at 80 speed, so great little addition to your infantry. And if you do have elite units like guard and stuff, put them in this and have them as like a response unit on defense, and they're very useful. Next, universal carrier, which I believe these were British originally. So this is the MG variant. The armor's between 7 and 10. It's obviously, like everything else, is open tops, but so they are vulnerable. But the main thing is, it's the Maxim. It's got 250 round belts. So this thing can put rounds down, and it's got an anti-tank rifle. It's the PTRS, which is the 5-round magazine one, and they're pretty nippy at what they got. It's a 48 speed, but they are quite good. I do like them. They look cool. Now they are easy to kill, but if you get that Maxim and AT gun in a decent place, especially early war, these things can shred infantry and even do quite a lot of damage to light and medium tanks, because that PTRS 41 is quite lethal. So definitely something I like to bring on. I've lost a lot of men to these when fighting against them. And then you've got the universal carrier, the standard variant, which has got the PTRS, but it's also got a bipod DT. I think this one's a bit worse. The Maxim's obviously the better variant, so the same thing goes as the previous one, but I'd go for the Maxim personally. You've got more firepower, but obviously both of them carry quite a lot of anti-tank rounds as well, but I'd definitely go for the Maxim. So yeah, the Russian armoured cars and carriers, there's a bit less versatility as the Germans, like with the Pumas and stuff, but they do have some really good units. And like I say, the BA-10 and BA-6 are the ones that tend to struggle with most. So, you know, if you are going to use them, these guys can be early war really diamonds in the rough for your forces, and you'd be surprised at how much damage they can inflict on the enemy. Remember that 45 milli gun, the Germans don't even get to heavy weapons till the Panzer III, or if they use the Panzerjäger. So you can actually outshoot most of the light tanks, and even some of the medium tanks, which is kind of scary when you think about it. Anyway, I hope you found the video useful. If you did, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'll see you on the next one. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone.